It's the $5 game review, and this week's game is Paths of Valour. It's a great little RPG, and I don't want to spoil it just yet, but you can get it for $3.99 on Steam. I'm going to give you my review. My name's Coyote. Let's get to it. Now, in the Steam page, Paths of Valour says it's a 2D pixel role-playing game. Players will be a hero, gather friends on an adventure, journey to defeat the Demon King, and game content will include classic RPG elements such as turn-based gameplay, random enemies, side quests, and more. This game plays like an old-school Dragonquest game. It's a very much 2D thing. All your party members will follow you around, and I really love the aesthetic and the different models they use. If you're into this kind of like sexy female model, you're going to love the game. There's a lot of female characters in here that they just did really well designed. You do play the role of a quiet protagonist, and this is kind of actually a turn-off for me because it gives you a chance to name your character, but you only get one model. You only get to play as this female model. If you are going to go ahead and make her somebody you can name, you might as well just give us the chance to choose like male or female or anything like that. Otherwise, give her her own name and make her story important. I like the idea going in. You are the child of this great king, and now you're the one hero that has to fight off the Demon King. One of the more annoying bits, and as of the time of recording this, there is no controller support. Maybe we'll see this down the line in a future patch, would be really cool, is the point to click. Sometimes as you're clicking throughout the map, your character just kind of gets like sidetracked. They pick some weird path to go, and they get locked or talking into somebody you didn't even want to talk to. It'd be really cool to see the controller come in and be accessible for this, or just kind of fix some of the pathing errors that they have. Back to the actual game, when you actually get to meet some of the characters, Ayers and Grice, I just love their character models. They feel different, they feel unique. The dialogue is rather campy, and I'll get to a better example of that coming up, but all in all, it feels really good. You feel like each character is their own. Now, these are the first two you meet. There are plenty more, and each with their own unique abilities and different things, and I'm jumping ahead, but these are really well-designed characters. One thing I liked is you're not super imposed into actually going through and having to talk to certain people. You can actually leave town, but you can't really progress the storyline. If you kind of get lost, the game does a really good job of saying, hey, go talk to this person, and it leaves a mark on the map for you to see. Let's talk some of my favorite parts about this game, though, and it's the combat. If you are a fan of the old Final Fantasy or Dragonquest style gameplay, you're going to like it. It is turn-based gameplay, and the battles play out just like, more like Dragon Quest, if I had to put a theme to it. They have really cool different spell animations for this game as well. Every spell feels unique and powerful, and it's awesome. You can actually even escape boss battles from this. Let's say you're already you're losing, and instead of just like taking the L, you can just, hey, no, we're going to run away. And that was a unique feature, because I don't know how many times you've been in an RPG and you're like, frack, I'm not prepared for this fight. Let me go ahead and back out of it. This game lets you back out of some of the fights. Another big change that I really loved about this game that you don't see in a lot is bosses are susceptible to status effects. You find that in a lot of like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, you get spells that either put the enemy to sleep or poison them, and they don't work. Well, in this game, all your status effect spells really work, and they help out. So I found that fighting the first boss, you can actually poison him, so he's taking damage every turn. Another feature that I liked is that if somebody your party members die, you can actually just go take a rest and everybody revives. There's no need to go carry like Angel's Prayer or anything like that to keep your party up all the time. You just go find a resting spot, everybody comes back, and it feels really good. The last thing I want to say on this combat is actually the boss battles. I really enjoyed, I got into the first boss, and it was hard, all right? I enjoy a tough boss battle. It should feel achieving that, hey, look, I did just one-shot it. I obviously saw I had to leave, come back, and try it again, and that's when I changed the strategy a little bit. The boss battles in this game are super fun, and I highly recommend just taking them on, and don't be afraid to run away. It is okay to run away in this game. My final thoughts on this game, I want to talk about the gameplay overall. Let's just start out with the dialogue, and this may be a translation issue, but it can be really campy. They're like, hey, go look at this cool guy with an axe, and you're like, well, if that guy doesn't have main character vibes or anything about it, it was just really bad. I did like the skill tree design in this game. It's a small game, and it does need a little bit of help, though, in trying to figure out what skills you need to look to unlock to grab different paths. But all in all, really cool skill tree for a small game. I would like to see what the stats do for each one. Like, what does this stat actually improve? What does this stat do? That way I know, like, hey, if I'm putting different things in for certain characters, I want to make sure they're getting the right stats. The early dungeons are kind of fun to explore. You go around, there are some pop-out mechanics that you end up getting, and it's entertaining. Let's talk one last thing, is they have a great little side quests, but some of them are still a little janky. We could use a little fix to the fishing minigame. I can tell you that I was trying to fish out a certain fish, and sometimes you just get unlucky on the swipe mechanic, and that was super annoying. Otherwise, you're getting a great little mini quest like, hey, just go out there and kill this thing. It drops this item that I need. Not bad. That's what a great little RPG side quest is. Like, hey, you're not going to go spend an hour trying to go hunt down one thing unless it is these fish. When it all comes down to it, if you've got $3.99 and you want to pick up a cheap game, Paths of Valour is definitely worth every penny. It's a fun little JRPG. It definitely needs its little tweaks, but I still see a lot of fun and promise out of this. My name's Coyote, and this has been a $5 game review. I will catch you next week.